I'm going to review the video by Plant-Based News about Kim Kardashian and Beyond Meat.
Have you seen the recent collab between Kim Kardashian and Beyond Meat? If you haven't,
He has one of the most autistic faces that I've ever seen in my life.
check out this video and let me know what you think.
This is coming from fucking Spherage. Autistic face. You're telling me somebody has an autistic face, Spherage? Wait, let me see. Spherage. Laugh.
Nutrition. Vegans?
Yes, so, Spherage, you're calling him autistic, are you?
I believe so much in the mission of Beyond Meat that I've stepped in to help with my greatest asset, my taste. This plant-based meat is
Oh, people have been memeing on that super hard. She didn't actually take a bite.
not only amazingly delicious, but it's also better for you and better for the planet.
How is it better for you? Of course, she doesn't explain it because...
Well, it's better for you because it doesn't contain cholesterol. Generally speaking, Beyond Meat products have less saturated fat than comparable meat products. The ingredients list, like it's pea and soy based, so it's going to contain fiber, some phytonutrients, antioxidants. Also isn't going to contain some cancer-causing carcinogens like heme iron, nitrosamines, shit like that, so that's why it's healthier for you. And as far as it being more environmentally friendly, again, this is proven. In terms of CO2 or greenhouse gas emissions, mock meats are better. And on top of that, in terms of like total waste produced, animals piss and shit, so you don't have animal waste to contend with when you make these foods. It's not like Minions, they're fucking annoying.
Because it's an advertisement and dumb people are supposed to fall for it. Better for the earth? In what way?
It's a simple change that makes a really big difference.
Just to think that something man-made, unnatural, can in any way be better for the natural earth is already so ridiculous.
Well, Spherage, considering how animal products require more land and are the #1 cause of deforestation and species extinction, I think it's pretty... Again, I don't think you're smart enough to understand any of this, but, you know, for those who care.
And now that I'm Beyond Meat's chief taste consultant, there's never been a better time to go beyond.
So this video was shared on Kim Kardashian's Instagram page
What people don't do for money.
with 314 million people. And even though the likes were less than her other posts, the engagement was sky high, with lots of people being...
Just wish it was organic. If things are not... Oh my god. These people are insane.
You're a blue pill.
If things are not organic, it causes phytoestrogens. This person doesn't know what phytoestrogen is, which creates hormones. That's not what phytoestrogens do, and phytoestrogens are plant hormones. 80% of women that have breast cancer have this type of cancer. What? Phytoestrogens help to prevent and fight against breast cancer. They're like particularly from soy. They bond to the beta receptor in breast tissue, which turns off cell growth and proliferation. These people commenting this shit are literally fucking retarded. It's insane.
Looks like some good comments, actually.
really critical. And today I'm going to go through some of the comments responding to them. Hope you enjoy the video.
Lovely.
A lot
Looking
of the comments
forward.
centered around Beyond Meat not being very healthy.
He makes fun of other people's accent when he himself has an accent.
And first up, I just want to say I don't think the Beyond Burger is a health food. It's sold in fast food chains like
nothing that a vegan eats is a health food anyway. And look at your dark eye circles, huh?
Right. That's why vegans live longer and have lower risk of chronic disease, because everything we eat is bad for you.
Under eye bags, man, you're looking really exhausted. Way worse than you used to look.
Jesus Christ.
Can you react?
So whatever Beyond Meat talk about the health benefits of their products, I'm a little bit confused. But the thing of health is it's a relative thing. And what we do know is, according to a Stanford study from a
Health is relative.
couple of years ago, the health outcomes for people that had Beyond Burgers compared to traditional beef burgers was marginally but significantly better. And this kind of makes sense, right? Because in the Beyond Burger, you don't have the cholesterol, you have less saturated fat, you've got more fiber, and you've got more iron.
Alright, no cholesterol, which means that you will produce way less hormones. That has always been one of...
There is no association between cholesterol intake or even serum cholesterol concentrations and bioavailable androgens. So that's just retarded. Again, Sverige, if any of what you're saying is true, then can you explain to me why the largest study on this topic, let me see, hormones and diet low insulin like growth factor 1, but normal bioavailable androgens in vegan men. What the study actually found was that vegan men on average had higher levels of total testosterone. They even had higher levels of free testosterone, so non-bound testosterone. It's just that it wasn't statistically significant. So can you explain, and one major finding from the study was that vegans actually had significantly lower, I don't know, why is the full text like, I have to go through two links. But what this paper found was the serum cholesterol concentrations in vegans were much lower. And if you go to the discussion section of the paper, they actually explicitly mention that. Sex hormone binding globulin was significantly higher in vegans than meat eaters, corresponding to increase in testosterone in order to maintain constant levels of free testosterone, pattern which is being found in blah, blah, blah. The significantly lower plasma total cholesterol concentration found among vegans compared to both vegetarians and meat eaters, and the lower concentration in vegetarians compared to meat eaters has been well established. These results confirm that large differences in lipid intake and lipoprotein physiology do exist between these dietary groups, but that these differences are not associated with circulating androgen concentrations. So this is the largest study of its kind that I know of, and it found that there's no association between serum cholesterol and circulating hormone levels. So care to explain this to me, Sverige?
One of the main ways scientifically to see if somebody is healthy, if they are hormonally healthy. Saturated fat, you are made out of it, your cells are made out of it, also cholesterol. Fiber is...
No, Sverige, your entire body is not just made out of saturated fat. That's so fucking weird.
Of course, not in any way healthy, it's simply the indigestible part of the plant. I don't even know what he's trying to say with.
Fiber consumption is associated with longer life expectancy and lower risk of heart disease, diabetes, and certain cancers. So it doesn't matter if it's indigestible or not, Sverige. Consuming it's clearly good for you.
That. And did he say that it has more iron? It doesn't even have hemiiron, which is what a human being uses. It can't use plant iron anyway.
So, no, your body can use different sources of iron. It can use plant iron. It's just that your body has mechanisms of regulating absorption of non-heme iron, whereas it doesn't have mechanisms of regulating absorption of heme iron. So that means if you eat too much heme iron, you can very easily get iron overload.
Okay. And vegans are the ones who always say that iron is so unhealthy and that's why you shouldn't be consuming animal foods.
Jimmy Kubik says, did you know that Beyond Meat is one of the worst foods you can eat? And what are you talking about, Jimmy? Are you talking about health? You just talked about that. Or are you talking about the environment?
You didn't really talk about it at all.
Because without trying to sound like a sales rep for Beyond Meat, its products use 99...
That's probably what you are, plus, just like Earthling Ed, you quote some study which was, again, probably sponsored by Beyond Meat. It's completely irrelevant.
10% less water.
No, Sparage, that's not what he's referencing here.
93% less land, 90% fewer greenhouse gas emissions.
Okay, statements like this are based on nothing, and most people who look at this simply...
What does he mean statements like this are based on nothing? So whenever you see conflicting evidence that doesn't adhere to your viewpoints, oh, it's based on nothing.
Do you
blindly believe it? Of course, naturally,
Thank you, Vegan Wesker.
a cow
Appreciate
doesn't
it.
use any water. Literally zero. So if the production of Beyond
What?
Meat uses any water at all...
No, cows need to drink Sparage, and oftentimes, especially in drier areas like California, they need to be given water. They can't just rely on things like rainwater. Where did he get this idea that cows don't use water? Like, what?
then it automatically uses way more water than the production of meat, seeing as meat needs zero water to be produced. I don't know if this guy has never left the UK, because it's...
Sparage, are you fucking insane? None of this makes sense. Dude, if you're in a state or territory where there's a lot of rain, yeah, you can rely on rainwater. Plants can also rely on rainwater, Sparage. So if you're going to make this argument that, oh, well, you know, the beef industry or whatever, in these territories, they can rely on rainwater because it rains so often, so their water consumption is like practically zero, you know, because they don't have to get water from some other source. That would also be true of plants, you fucking idiot. Like, have you ever, well... He hops from like apartment to apartment and like tries to get people to pay for his rent by couch surfing and shit. But like, did you not grow up in like a house where your parents might have, I don't know, grown flowers or tomatoes in the backyard? You might have noticed that if it rained a fair bit, your parents wouldn't bother going out and watering the plants. You fucking moron.
It's a quite densely populated country, although there's also a lot of land. I've been to many countries and I've driven hours without seeing any buildings and only land. Lack of land is absolutely not a problem on this earth whatsoever.
No, Sparage. There is a problem with land use and agriculture, you idiot. If you're there's only so much land that you can actually use for agriculture that's either, you know, farming with plants or farming animals. And with a growing population, what that's going to mean is you're either going to have to switch to a plant-based food system, which produces more food per unit of land, so you're not going to have to cut down new forests, or if you're going to rely on the, you know, animal-based food system, or, well, I don't know if we'd call it animal-based, but if we're going to still use the same food system where a big portion of the food grown comes from animal products, that means you're going to have to come up with more room, and that means cutting down more forested areas. He's literally saying, I've been to farms before, and the cows that are grown on these farms, there's lots of space for cows to go, so no, there's no problem. Like, wow. He is so dumb. I'm convinced he actually has like a learning disability. There's no way anybody can be this stupid and not have some sort of problem.
46% less energy than a traditional beef burger. So if we're thinking about the environment, it's actually significantly better than most products. If we're talking about health, we've just addressed that. It's marginally better, but of course it's not health food. If we're talking about public health, zero antibiotics used.
It's so delusional.
And if you're talking about ethics, Animal rights will zero animal slaughter. But look, I understand when you look at the Beyond Burger ingredients and there's 5 or 10 things and you compare that to like a lamb chop or traditional.
He said zero animal slaughter. I don't know how he defines slaughter, but there are definitely many animals killed in the production of the products used to create Beyond Meat. Generally, plant farming kills incredibly many animals, millions upon millions.
Please provide the proof, Sparage. No. If you're talking about things like rodent deaths, animals that you can actually, that we're able to measure, no. Plant agriculture kills far fewer animals. And if he's including insects in this equation, there's literally no data on that. We have no, even when it comes to small animals like rodents, in most circumstances, we don't actually know if farming increases rodent deaths within a square mile of, whatever farmland there is. And we certainly don't know if farming increases insect deaths. Insects don't live very long, for one thing. Most insects have like a lifespan of like a few weeks to maybe a couple months. So we have no idea if farming actually causes more insect deaths. This is just tarded. And I mean, if you're going to talk about killing rodents and insects and shit like that, again, Sparage, animals need to eat too? So guess what we feed these animals? Corn and soy. So if you're going to, if you're going to complain about, oh, the insect deaths and the mice from the combine, okay, well, guess what? All these animals are eating corn and soy, so you're going to have all those field deaths from farming corn and soy, and then you're also going to kill those animals you're feeding it to. Like, what an idiot.
Steak, why there might seem like, oh, hold on a sec, Beyond Meat's got a bunch of ingredients and maybe it's not as good for the environment. But what you're not seeing there is the fact that animal agriculture is very intensive. It requires things like water, energy, and land, which makes it overall significantly worse for the environment than a Beyond Burger, which yes, might have a few.
In what way are cows grazing on grass bad for the earth, for the environment? In any way at all. Just name something. No way.
Why do people
Shut up.
Ingredients. And this is out of the same playbook that the dairy industry use to criticize plant-based milks. They say plant-based milks has all of these ingredients. They've got preservatives, they've got a little bit of salt, and they've got this, they've got that. So therefore, it's not very good. It's not very good for your health. And it's like, no, you're kind of missing the point here. Film is, it says Beyond Meat is absolutely the most poisonous product you can eat. Do you ever read the ingredients of that stuff?
I bet some of those are my subscribers.
Now look, to be clear, again, I don't really eat
That's not something.
French Frank?
burgers that much because it's not real food. It's not sort of like unprocessed plant food. It is processed, so it's not optimal for health, so I don't try and eat it that much. However, if you look at the ingredients in the Beyond Burger, you're talking about things like beet, apple extract, pomegranate extract, some preservatives, a couple of oils. What is it?
Yeah, those oils are incredibly unhealthy, and you know that. Very inflammatory. It doesn't really get much worse than...
If you look at inflammatory markers when you eat animal fats versus plant fats, generally it's worse on animal fats. If you're talking about like oxidative modification of lipid particles, if you eat animal fats, those tend to promote oxidative modification of lipid particles. None of this makes any sense.
Seed oils.
About these ingredients that freak people out to this degree is
Really any kind of plant oils anyway.
completely disproportionate and over the top. One of the things the commenter says is eat meat, but eat meat that is raised by your local farmer. Now from my personal experience, the people that talk about local meat, organic, grass-fed, free range, use all these buzzwords, right? They don't even eat these products in the first place the whole time. They just go down to the supermarket and have your normal animal products. 95 to 99% of animals raised
How would you even know that?
food come from factory farms. And even if these people, including films it,
Yes, and we should change that. The answer is not to eliminate meat altogether. Why don't you fight for better meat and for better human health?
eat local.
Sparage, the main reason is because we're not in favor of committing a Holocaust. Second reason is grass-fed or not, meat is just bad for you. It's bad for food security. It's bad for the environment, you know. So, there you are.
and meat the whole time, this is not sustainable at scale because there's nowhere near enough land. So what you're recommending...
How is there not enough land? Really, I just don't know what this guy is talking about. He really probably hasn't left the UK much at all, because there is so much land. I can't...
Yeah, there's so much land. That's why they're cutting down forests to make room for grass-grazing cattle. There's so much land, guys. You just gotta cut down all the fucking wildlife.
Can't even express it in words.
Isn't a solution whatsoever. To put it in perspective, in the US alone, we need 4 times more land than is currently available. And even if there was enough land, the more fundamental point, notwithstanding the ethics, is that there's no unbiased evidence showing that grazing livestock sequester more carbon than the animals produced in the first place. I'll say that again because we're all used to people talking about organic grass-fed meat being good for the environment, but it's not. It's worse because it requires more land than factory farming. So again, we come back to the central issue that this system...
Again, he can't even explain what he means.
Whether through factory farming or free-range farming, is simply unsustainable. Why Normalista says, just wish it was organic if things are...
It has always worked. Are we still not here? Is it...
Judging...
Is it not working?
not organic.
Okay, so that argument made no sense. Oh, well, obviously it works because we're still here. I guess we should never have banned 2-stroke engines. I guess we shouldn't improve, gas emissions. We shouldn't get rid of, diesel engines and move to electric. Like, it works. We're still here, right? Like, okay, well, since there's a growing population and clearly these things negatively impact like global warming and air quality, there's also issues with reliance on foreign oil. Like, these are all problems, Farage, that could be solved or improved upon.
It causes phytoestrogens, which create hormones. 80% of women that have breast cancer have this type of cancer, and a lot of it is from the phytoestrogens in non-organic foods, along with environmental exposure.
I don't know what she means exactly, but there's canola oil in Beyond Meat, which does promote the...
I'm not sure if Beyond Meat contains canola oil. I know most of their products have coconut oil. Let me see. Beyond Burger. Maybe it has some canola oil in it, but I thought it just had where's the ingredients? Fuck me. Beyond Burger ingredients. I thought it just had coconut oil. Oh yeah, expeller pressed canola oil, refined coconut oil. So it does have canola oil in it. Okay.
The growth of tumors in breasts.
No, canola oil does not promote the growth of breast cancer tumors, Farage. Don't know what to tell you. It's funny how he mentions that when diets high in saturated fat and cholesterol are actually associated with breast cancer, when he was just claiming, oh, saturated fat and cholesterol is so good for you.
Okay, first up, Normalista, don't know how to pronounce your Instagram handle. Secondly, I don't really know what you're talking about because the Beyond Burger is GMO free, and secondly, it's soy free. So even if you believe these myths about soy being feminizing...
Soy is not the only seed that has phytoestrogens.
Yeah, it's a very weird comment to leave. Organic is not what people think it means. There are things that you can do that are that nobody would really have a problem with that would make something not organic. So you can have non-GMO products that don't use any pesticides, and then it would still not be organic because they might use nitrogen enriched fertilizers, which you're not allowed to do with organic farming. Organic also uses pesticides, so people just don't know what the fuck organic even means. It's really just an arbitrary fucking term. It doesn't have any advantages over conventional farming.
I wouldn't know if there's any in Beyond Meat.
Having these harmful effects. It's not true, and secondly, it doesn't apply here. There are a lot more...
Oh, it's not true. Okay, thank you.
comments in the video talking about how Beyond Meat is not very healthy, talking about how there's those chemicals, how it's toxic, phytoestrogens, all these kind of buzzwords. Get off your high horse and get on board the future, which is supporting brands like Beyond Meat, Beyond Burger, and actually...
Yeah, it's the future. Support it.
You don't even need to support these brands because if you want to eat a healthful plant-based diet, devoid of processed foods, replete with things like fruits, vegetables, legumes, grains, nuts and seeds you can. And what we're seeing is...
I love how they always say grains, legumes, and of course also seeds, as if those are not seeds. They don't even understand what they're eating. It's really...
Yeah, Sverige, legumes are not seeds. Grains are not seeds. Seeds are seeds. What a dummy. Like, wow, what a dummy.
funny.
That those who are health motivated will inevitably shift towards this kind of lifestyle as awareness grows, which is already happening in films like The Game Changers, changing people's perception. It's already happening with major dietetic associations.
Nobody took Game Changers serious. Are you living in some kind of bubble? Everybody, and I mean everybody, even the vegans made fun of the documentary. Most of the people who were in the documentary either quit veganism already or they completely failed as athletes. It's just...
So, I think Tim Sheaf was the only one in the documentary who was excluded from the film because he went retarded and started eating meat. That was the only person in the film that happened to. And everybody was going on about, oh, these athletes are fucking losers, or the team lost, or this guy was injured. Most of the people they were talking about were long-term football players. Like, they had been in the game for a very long time, and players that are that seasoned always have injuries.
Why? I
appreciate it.
Literally everybody is making fun of the documentary.
Associations coming out saying a vegan diet is nutritionally adequate for all stages of life. So get on board the future, but that
Get on board.
future simply cannot involve animal agriculture. And if we're to bow down to ancestors,
It cannot. It sounds like he's part of the WEF, maybe?
if we're to
Here
give
we
that
go.
system the nod and keep perpetuating the status quo, we're in effect designing our own death sentence for the future. Thank you so much for listening to me today. If you're a Beyond Meat hater, let me know in the comments.
This guy is definitely very ironic and...
Plants don't have vitamin A. Well, you can convert provitamin A carotenoids into vitamin A. Plants do have B6. You do have to supplement B12. You can get vitamin D from plants. There's no such thing as vitamin F. The only actual bioavailable source of K2 is actually from plants. All of these K2 supplements are actually using a plant-derived form of K2 because that's, again, the only very bioavailable form. You also don't need to consume K2. K1 is just fine. Amino acids, creatine, your own body creates creatine, and if you're talking about like performance enhancement using creatine, you have to take a supplement. Carnitine, your own body produces it. Carnosine, your own body produces it. Taurine, your own body produces it. Heme iron, you don't need heme iron. Coenzyme Q10, your own body produces it. Cholesterol, your own body produces it. CLA, your own body produces it. So, someone doesn't know the difference between an essential and non-essential nutrient. Well, that's Sverige. Let's see.